Hello, on today's Systemize Your Success, I'm joined by Georges Verdis, who is a good friend, a client, and someone I have been working with now for many years. And we chat regularly about working with virtual assistants. And we talking the other day as part of my our elite accountability session about how do we get our remote teams more involved in the celebrations that we have in businesses. What fun things can you do with them to really bring people together to have that bonding experience that one might have when you go on a retreat to a weekend or whatever, like typical companies do? Like, what are the things we can do over Zoom or remotely? And we came up with some great ideas in the group. And I thought rather than me just basically reel off a list of stuff that Georges was a huge part of actually creating, I thought let's just get on the show and actually have a proper chat about it. Much more fun, and actually hearing it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, is always better in my opinion.
So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us, who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits, and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day, and this is Systemize Your Success.
So welcome, Georges, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Steve, for having me on.
Cool. So yeah, this came up. We were talking. I think I think it was Hugo that came up on and said, what can I do to engage with my virtual staff? And most of our clients, including myself, have teams based in the Philippines, and I've also got a web guy in Pakistan. I've got a PA in the UK, and I'm based in Sweden. And you're similar. You have
yes, I've got two teams.
Staff in the Philippines, and you've got a UK based team. And I think for you especially, what I love what you try and do is really to make that into one team. It's not the remote staff and the office team. You you put a huge amount of thought of effort into how can you make that team gel together as one. And so what are the kind of things that you've come up with? And this is being recorded and going out live just before Christmas. But this stuff is going to be relevant to whenever you're trying to celebrate anything or a win in the company or just bring the team together. So what kind of things now off the top of your head have you done in the past few months that have really worked or not worked? Why and what have you learned from it?
Will it be worth sharing the journey, how it all started? Because it didn't happen immediately. So one of the things that we do is to once a month, the whole team, that is the office team, the UK team, to get together and celebrate. We used to celebrate our successes and just being outside of the office. Once a month, and just being all of us together. And just before that, it had started with a Friday evening, a glass of wine, and just sort of relaxing, I would say, the last hour or so of the week. And I just wanted to make it a little bit more interesting because, what we had noticed, or I had noticed myself, was that I had the glass of wine on one hand, but on the other hand, I was, doing that last quick email. So I really wanted to get out completely. And so, we had this weekly, no, not weekly, sorry, this monthly get-togethers with the team in the UK. And it kind of made sense at that time because there were more of us in the office than the remote team. But as we have been growing, both in the UK and in the Philippines, it came to a point where I felt personally that there was a disconnect. There was a disconnect when it came to doing things that are fun between the team in the Philippines and the team in the UK. And because ultimately we could all connect via various sort of platforms for our team meetings on Zoom and on Slack, and we were all getting together, but when it was time to have fun, it was just the UK. So on that basis, I set the challenge to the team that the next monthly get together, everyone has fun. And they're like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. We just need to think of something. And I picked up an idea from from a colleague, from a friend of mine, actually, Paul, where he told me, you should try and possibly all of you at the same time cook something together. So I said, okay, that's interesting. But you had to take into consideration ingredients, costs, and how easy it is going to be to do that. Now, truth of the matter was that the UK team, all five of us were in one location, in one kitchen. Actually, it was my mother's kitchen because it was the closest place. So I'm like, we're coming over to your place and we're going to be doing our own food. Whilst the team in the Philippines, each one of them was actually cooking it by themselves, and it worked. And let me tell you how it worked, because we still carried out the whole thing over Zoom. There was one member in the UK that was actually broadcasting live what was happening in our kitchen, in the UK, where the four of us, where we were split actually into two teams, trying to cook. And I realized that my cooking skill set are nowhere near as good as that of the rest of my team here. Whilst at the same time, we had each team member in the Philippines, again on a Zoom call, with their mobile phones, sharing and showing us their progress. And it was literally, it was amazing to see them, and they could see us, and and to share the challenges. And I think that was the sort of the first foundation that, what, it can be possible. It can be possible to share a moment as a team where we all cook the same dish. We were all given the same amount of budget, and we wired the monies for each one of them so they can actually um, buy the ingredients, have everything ready. They had the recipe, and we just had to get on with it and do it. And when we finished it, we literally ate, all of us, at the same time over a Zoom, and commenting about the highs and the lows of the cooking class.
That's
So
fantastic.
that's how it all started. Um, that's how it all started. And I thought, what a great idea. The team loved it in the Philippines. The team in the UK loved it. And we suddenly saw another side of one another. Because we work so closely with our team in the Philippines. Frankly speaking, I don't think they're actually based there. It almost feels that as if they're working from home. Um, and and it was so nice. We got to know the other side of them. What I will say, the happy side, the frivolous side, the joyful side, the cheeky side, and also I would say the competitive side as well. Oh, look, I finished my dish. I'm ready. Why are you guys not ready? So that was great. That was great.
Cool.
So that was the
Yeah, that
first
sounds.
one. Shall I go on what we did after that?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think because one of the things that I've worked with virtual team for a long time, but I'll hold my hands up. I always try and be honest on these podcasts that I've not really done anything like this. I've not really like I'm trying to think if we've ever done anything sort of social, and I'm not even sure I haven't. I feel quite embarrassed about saying that now. And I was even chatting to my team about this podcast that we're going to do, and I was saying I'm doing this podcast with Georges, and the reason I wanted to get you on because I felt like a bit of a fraud if I was doing it on my own because, I think we've got a great culture and a great team, but I think they get together and do stuff online now, but without me, and because I've not made a thing, and I think
Yeah.
that's like wrong. Like I need to change. So this is keep on going. I'm going to note down all these ideas and,
I mean,
and learn from them and apply them.
and just sort of a tangent, you're absolutely right. I think, your virtual team, especially if they share the same language, the same culture, the same tradition, have those get-togethers without your knowledge. Not that there is anything wrong with it, but it's, I think, a lot more important to be immersive and, to all enjoy that and see, each other's culture. So from the cooking class, I can't remember what came next, but there was a game because one of my colleagues, like she's very much into online gaming, and I said, okay, well, we can do online gaming, but it can't be your typical online gaming. It's got to have a purpose, right? We've got to learn something out of it.
Playing Super Mario Brothers together or something.
So the way that I sold it, or sort of came up with the idea, was I don't know if you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He has got a game called Cash Flow. And in that game, what it actually teaches you is that to get out of the rat race, you need to become savvy when it comes to investments, loans, etc. And I had this board game, and funnily enough, that was something that we used to do quite a few years back now. Play this game once a month in the office, this cash flow game. And the whole purpose of it was you play the game. It's not about winning, but it's about what did you learn from the game? What financial strategy, what moment of aha did you have from a financial perspective, having seen others play the game and how you played it? So I basically approached the team and I'm like, look, I think we should play this game, and it's free, and we can actually all be part of it. And I thought that was fascinating because there we were. We created this room, on cash flow. You can go to their website and be able to do that, and everyone played part. And it was fascinating to see, each one's skill set when it comes to financially, the risk takers, the people that were playing very conservatively, and uh, and seeing how they were changing their perspective and their game as they could see others progressing and others not. And all of that was happening whilst we had ordered pizza. So the UK team had their pizzas. We had sent the monies to the team in the Philippines to order their pizzas. So we were all having a pizza whilst playing this game. And, I think that game off the top of my head lasted 2.5, 3 hours. But, it was fantastic because once again, the team is getting together. This time not whilst cooking, but actually playing a game and learning from it at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
I've actually played that game many times, and I think it's a great. I mean, it's a great game. I played it. Oh, whenever it came out, probably not 15 years ago or something. Whenever I can't remember exactly when. But I would have never thought to have done that with my own staff. I think it's a genius idea. Because it's almost like it's fun. It's not like it sounds. If
it
you've
is
never
fun,
played
yeah.
it, it may put you off a bit when you read the box. But actually, it is a good fun game, and it really opens your eyes to like you say, the world of investing and actually becoming financially secure and financially independent. So yeah.
And and I think when your team is playing this game and you're trying to teach them, by playing the Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant, it's empowering to them, right? It's not, yes, here I am, working for this team, and this team is telling me that my way out of freedom is by doing this. And I think there are very few companies that are doing such type of education, or dare I say, or are too scared sometimes to actually touch that subject.
Yeah, because one of the key things that Robert Kiyosaki goes on about is basically get out of the working the 9 to 5 as quickly as
Exactly.
you can, so you can then have time to open up opportunities and to invest your time into things where you're not exchanging your time for money. And that's the first thing that when you actually originally told me about this was like, that's brave. You know, but I found it's about, on a similar note, it's not really a fun thing to do, but I'll just touch it very, very quickly. I've asked all my staff, and about half of them have done it now, the other half are about halfway through, to read a book called The Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. And it's a similar sort of idea. It's like how I think Robert Kiyosaki takes it one step further, but what Donald Miller talks about is how to basically become so valuable to your employer that they're forced to give you a pay rise. And again, some people would be like scared about that, but I'm like, no. If you can, if you can prove to me that you are adding value to my company, why wouldn't I pay you more? And it's the same sort of attitude. If you can show someone you care enough about them to actually invest in their financial security in the future, regardless if they, they're likely they just respect that. It's just showing caring and empathy for your staff and their well-being, and the people will love you for it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very true. And yeah, and that was a very big success, by the way. That was a very big success for everyone. And then from there, I mean, as you can see, suddenly started getting addictive because, he's like, what else can we do? So after that, the team in the Philippines decided that we're gonna sort of set the scene for the next month. I'm like, okay. So they said we should do charades, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun because it wasn't like the UK versus the Philippines. It was a mixed team, right? So I think there were 3 teams together, and we had a team member, in the Philippines, some in the UK, but they were part of the same team. And I think the biggest success for you to make this work, with the technology that we all have at such easy, reach today, is that it's not just about having your webcam on your laptop, but also if the majority of the team is in one location, we actually have believe it or not, the thing is crazy, 2 mobile phones capturing that room where all of us are in the UK, so they can see us, but they can also see the room and the interaction and what's happening in the room. And that was a lot of fun. Needless to say, I failed miserably at that game. Everybody loved it so much that their boss just doesn't have the skill set to be able to win this game. And it's it's the laughter, it's the joy, it's the happiness of actually doing this that I think brings us even more closer together.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the last one that I can talk to you about, but not actually tell you what happened. My team, I wasn't part of that because I was on a mastermind. They did a pub quiz. They did a pub quiz. There were all the questions. Michael had prepared all the questions and set the scene for your typical pub quiz. And again, once again, they loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm inspired already. I'm gonna go. As I was saying, I felt quite guilty when I told them what I was going to be talking about today. I was like, we haven't done anything. So I said, we're going to do something in the new year. I'm going to get one of these ideas. I might get them to pick one, and then they can choose. The staff can choose what they want to do as a starter, and get this going. Like you're saying, do it once a month just to bring the team together. Because one of the things, if I ask my team now what they love most about working for us, it's never about me or the work. It's always about the people, always about the people they work with, and this is the type of thing that really glues that together when it
Yes,
takes it to a
absolutely.
different level, because it's now suddenly you're seeing people without that face on, which we all have to when we're sort of in professional mode. And as little as we try to do it sometimes, but sometimes you just have to put that, you have to be in the role that we have to act at that moment. So this is an opportunity to see a different side of people. So I'm excited. There were a couple of other things that popped up. Actually, I just wanted to mention like a really simple one, which I thought was a great idea. And I think it was Ugo on the call that came up with this, and it was to open presents at the same time. And I thought with sort of Christmas coming around the corner, it's a good time to share presents with people.
Yeah.
And so the idea was basically send presents to people. And I've got a tip on that in a second as well, which we've done before. So everyone gets a present, and it's wrapped present, and then they all open it and share that same moment that you would if you were in an office or whatever together. And then the question obviously came up
Santa,
with,
basically.
yeah, like a Secret Santa, exactly. And then
We
the question
haven't done that yet. That's we've done it in the UK team, but not with the team in the Philippines.
yeah,
At the same time.
That's exactly, yeah. And we do it in the family every year. We do a Secret Santa every single year, and we have done for many, many years. Sometimes with quite interesting consequences. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Yeah, so the question came up, well, how do you do that? How do you facilitate getting presents to people that live on the other side of the world? And so what we've done in the past, so for example, when if our staff go on maternity leave, then we always give them, a baby shower type present or whatever, just as a nice gesture. And so we simply get one of the other staff, we wire them the money, they buy it locally, and then get it delivered to the person's house. It's super easy. And so if you do a Secret Santa type idea, then obviously the people locally can buy locally. It just makes it a little bit easier. Or you can actually put the names in a hat. Everyone says, what each person's going to get. You, the company, can finance it all to make it, completely sort of level playing ground for everybody. But then, come up with a list of ideas. And our Secret Santa this year, which I think has taken a little bit of the fun out of it. I must say, family, if you're listening to this, I think you've ruined Christmas this year. But what they've done, is they came up. So I got my it's now gone digital. There's an app that someone found, and I'm so sorry to the person that found this. I'm not going to mention by name in case you listen to this. But and they found this app that basically it automatically gives you a person to buy for. So there's no picking out hats or anything like that, which that was cool. But then it came up with a list of things the person wants. And I was just like, it sort of took the fun out of it, especially when I found out that half the people just put one thing on it. And I was like, it's not really the excitement of, opening, what this is going to be for Secret Santa. It's like, oh, yeah, so you got me my aftershave. Great, thanks. Cheers, Santa. So anyway, don't want to ruin Christmas, but there you go. Cool. Georges, on that note, I'm going to have to draw this one to a close. But thank you so much for joining me today and sharing those awesome ideas. I genuinely will be borrowing one, if not all of them, in the coming months, and I will feedback and let you know how it got on.
Great, fantastic.
Thank you very much indeed. See you again soon.